It's okay to be upset at God. I was once upset at God due to the fact of all the things that I've endured on this planet. And I feel like there was times I feel like he sat and watched. I feel like there was times that like, man, you could have stopped that, you know? But, as insensitive as it sounds to tell myself that maybe it could have been worse, that goes into play of that is my testimony of what I've been through to get closer to him and realize that that is people moving out of free will. God did what he could to stop that person from doing what they're doing by having the consciousness in their mind of, hey, maybe I shouldn't do this, but they went about it anyway. And that's what they reap. That's what they reap and have to sow at the end of it all. But what I have learned from being raped by family members, by being bullied, by being backstabbed and abandoned, was that God never did that. Meaning, we live in this crossfire of evilness on this planet. There's things that are going to show you that this is evil and this is good. Can't have one or the other. So, me going through what I went through is to have God use me. I pray that God uses me to protect that kid from that abuser, curse out that motherfucker that is abusing me, and call them out on their bullshit, and let them know that, like, hey, I know what you did, and it's up to you to forgive, for me to forgive, like, you know what I mean? Like, for God to forgive you or not. But you know what I mean? Like, it it's not all roses and rainbows when it comes to God. There's a certain raft that is so creative that God has on people that do these things, that there's things that are being done that you just don't see because you need to be focused on rebuilding yourself, not necessarily on that person, on are they reaping what they sow, da 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 da. That's their bed to lie in. Focus on your own bed. Are you doing what you can to not repeat the curse? Not becoming an abuser? Not being part of that statistic of like, oh, people that were raped, they get strung out on drugs and end up on the street and be nothing in life. Your soul is still intact. Yeah, they took a part of you, but that part of you is unbreakable because God is unbreakable. Meaning that if you feel like enough is not being done on God's end, then tell God, hey, use me. What can I do on my part? Because that's probably what's missing. You're not doing your part of the testimony and sharing what God is trying to show people. That no matter what, if you're raped, if you're beaten, if you're abused by your parents, if you're abandoned by your parents, if you're bullied every day relentlessly to the point you're alone a lot, that's the time to get closer to God and build a foundation to attract a certain type of people that are in alignment with your soul purpose. Not what you feel like is pleasing your soul, of the inflation of the ego, the inflation of the flesh. Mold that ego, mold that flesh in the form of you get satisfaction out of being in alignment with your purpose to uplift people and their purpose. Because ain't nothing like a person that has been broken and built themselves up. Because they're not gonna allow you to break them again. They're not gonna allow you to break somebody else. And us being from the Creator and being God's children, we are in a state of having to do our part. God does his part, then that's when you come in to do your part. That depression that you feel, that emptiness that you feel, you gotta fulfill your purpose here. not only just for you, but for the collective of people that want to hear your story of how you were able to endure that because of God. And God's plan can be a little stressful of like, damn, like, bro, like, I'm fucking pissed off because it's like, why didn't you stop that? And who's to say God hasn't stopped any other things? Who's to say that he's going to use you to stop it ever happening again, or stop it from happening to somebody else? Because we're all connected. Whatever you go through, somebody can feel that, you know? Like somebody that really cares about you or doesn't even know you from a can of paint, but has compassion. So you helping somebody else get through that and allowing God to use you as what you've been through as a testimony, then so be it. But who's to say you don't believe in God? You know? Like, is that going to stop you from stopping somebody else from being as low as you felt, as worthless as you felt, as empty as you felt, as depressed as you felt, as anxious as you felt? We came here to serve ourselves, yeah, fulfill our lives, but it would be selfish of us to go in this merry-go-round of, God, why didn't you do this? God, why didn't you do that? God, why didn't you? Jesus, why didn't you? Do you exist? We could talk about that all day, but what are you doing for yourself? What role are you playing for yourself to overcome that? Because at the end of the day, we're victims, in quotation. We're victims, in quotation. You're already saved. All it takes is that one surrender of allowing God to use you. That's why you got the depression, to humble you. That's why you got the anxiety, to slow down. That's why you got the bipolar to make a decision. It's okay to be upset at God. But just know it's because our brains, our soul, our conscience cannot comprehend God's plan, because God is the creator of all things. He already knows how this is going to turn out for you. It's just up to you to make a decision. And that's how unconditional God's love is. Whatever that person did to you, you know, that's between them and God. And it could be between you and them. Talk it out. Hash it out. Curse them out. It ain't a sin to stand up for yourself. It ain't a sin to call out the bullshit. But just be careful. Have God guide you. Because people out here crazy. People really out here crazy. And that's a whole nother can of worms to open. So the best thing to do is just move on the best way you can. Ask God to guide your footsteps. And just know that the purpose is far more greater of you enduring what you endured. Because free will is a real thing. Don't project all that shit on God. Project that on that person that moved out of free will and made their own fucking decision to try to make your life a living hell. To try. I love y'all. God bless y'all.